the great run in the ACC tournament, and but I think what people are missing is that how we had to play to get there. When we came off of that Notre Dame and Carolina trip, that was really rough. I think we came back home. I think it was that we beat Florida State, and I've been doing my individual player meetings, and they're all going back to that moment after we played Notre Dame in the locker room. That we were all just staring at each other, going, wait a minute, we're good. What's wrong? Like, it wasn't. No one was mad. No one was angry. There was just a deep concern of, like, I think we have the ability to be a very special team, and we're not there yet, and we're working so hard and we're doing things right, and so there was no panic. It was just this real kind of soul searching, and then we came back home, I believe, right, and beat Florida State, and beat them good, and I think that's where kind of we woke up. So that run really started in that moment of just vulnerability and being open with each other and sharing a lot of belief. Like, if you hang in there, guys, and laying out the remaining games and going, okay, here's the first one, Florida State. We had a calendar. We showed them the whole calendar, and then we'd come in and we'd go the one game. And we kind of chopped it up, and that gave us great belief. And then so it's fun as a coach because I don't think I've ever had a team grow as much as this team grew. We had a lot of first-year players. We had a lot of players that had not played for me the season before, including the Micah Gray, so there were a lot of players that it was their this was their first year or hadn't played the season before for Miami, and what we were able to accomplish and be so connected and be such an inspirational team without a superstar, without anyone that would just hand the ball to and carry us every game. We didn't have that DNA. It was complete teamwork, and so I think it was really rewarding year as a coach.
Questions?
Coach, can you talk about Kelsey Marshall and the type of season that she had?
Yeah. So, and I think for Kels, so her running buddies, right? They're Micah and Destiny, and they both were injured at the start of the season, and so Kelsey was standing around, had 4 years of this cover. She had India and Taylor, and Mikey came in with her, and Des just became one of those, and they were all gone, and there she was, and her leadership was something that she was always capable of, but was able to defer it. She woke up. And I think in terms of being a coach, too, my relationship with Kelsey was always great, but I think there was a real need, and there was a real, almost a desperation of, Kels, we've got to lead this team. You've got to change. You've got to think about others a lot more and make yourself available more. And she was around more. So I thought that was great and another really rewarding just journey of the season.
Coach, after playing South Carolina, was there any surprise to you? They kind of just dominated their way?
Not at all. I mean, listen now, we're not proud of that performance by any stretch of the imagination, but it was not a complete failure either. You had to give them a lot of credit. We were trying a lot. We were trying very, very hard to get an open look. Their length is incredible, and you have to shoot over them to beat them. And I really thought Louisville had of anyone I looked at, I thought Louisville had the best shot of having a couple players that just shoot over people when they're perfectly guarded and make them. That was the only team that I thought had a real shot of being able to score 70 or something against them, because they're in this day and age. Now just think about it. In this day and age, you've got, I don't know how many McDonald's All-Americans they have. They have every recruit that they wanted that they've been getting, right, for the last couple of years. So they have great players. Every single one of those kids plays defense first. Every single one of those players knows I don't play unless I'm gritty, unless I do the little things. And that is very impressive. That is very impressive to keep all those great players happy, and it's not about who scores. And so they deserved it. They're really talented.
And then can you talk a little bit about Jalea Williams and what you're expecting from her throughout the next few seasons?
The player meetings, the postseason player meetings they're really fun. I have a certain structure to them to make sure that we're checking in on housing, academics, their summer plans, all other stuff. But then there's a moment of kind of what are your goals for the spring? So I have my evaluation, and I have my assistant coaches do their position coach, and so they know. But I ask them first what their goals are, and Jalea absolutely nailed it. Everything that the academics and the strength and conditioning and sports nutritionist and the sports med and all those reports that I have ready for these meetings, right? Jalea nailed every, I didn't have to read what was reported to her because she's so aware of how she's right on the brink of being a very, very, very special player for us, and she's willing to do it, and she's aware of what she needs, the next step she needs to take. So that was a great meeting.
And then can you talk a little bit about what she's brought on the defensive end. I believe she finished in the top 5 to 10 this season.
Yeah.
Steals per game in the ACC. Just
Yeah.
talk about a little bit.
Well, Jalea and Lachey, like I feel like, and one of the things I say in my program is at Miami we have freshmen, and then we have upperclassmen. I don't have this sophomore class. I don't even acknowledge that someone's a sophomore as much as I can. Like, you're a freshman and you get some patience and some room and, you know, some forgiveness or whatever, and then you're an upperclassman, because really, like I said, Lola has been here at Mava. They were here 1 year. They weren't freshmen. So you got to transition, and I think Jalea and Lachey are ready to make that transition from I've been a freshman. I think Jazz Roberts is going to have a really good career for us too, and just okay, now it's time to grow up. But those 3 players defensively are 3 of the best I've coached, and I think that will be our identity moving forward as well.
Coach, what can a year like this do for your program just moving forward?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, okay, we've had better years, you know, that I've been here. We have. I mean, I don't know the most wins I've ever had, but it's certainly more than 20. And we've been a 3 seed. I don't know if we were ever a 2. I know we've been a 3 a couple times. We've hosted. So we've had better years the whole season. But the ending, the catching fire and kind of, I don't think it was as shocking as people are coming up to me at the Final Four. Hey, Coach, great run. I'm like, yeah, but we're Miami. Like, that's expected. Like, I'm proud of it. But like, we aren't the little sisters of the poor that just surprised the whole. So we did a really, like I said, I think the pride was that mid-February, like, this is what's ahead of you, ladies. And I have never put that on a team before. I have never said, you have to do this. You got to go 8-2, and this is what you have, and you have to do this, or you're not dancing. And I've never put that on a team as boldly and as I think. You know, can they handle the pressure? And I think that was what it's doing for our program now. It's a time where people are listening and watching women's basketball. So the timing was great. And I think it was more so the way we played, and I might be wrong, but I think it was that how we were doing, what we were doing was so you had to cheer for us, you had to love us. I mean, and that they earned it because there's a lovable bunch. They are a really great group to work with.
Dave Radakovich took over kind of in the middle of your season.
Yeah.
No real time. Maybe there was. Or was there time to kind of sit down with him, meet with him, talk with him? How much were you able to do that during the season?
Yeah.
And how much is that going to be something to do, I guess, during the off season?
Oh, we've had our meetings. He's great. His vision. In fact, I just was like, I'm so fired up in this meeting because I've been here 17 years and I've had ideas, right? I've had things that I think want to get done, and I think it's the person. It's also the time at the university that we're empowering athletics a little bit more, and we're making some big bold moves, and I think that has a lot to do with our community stepping up and saying we get it, and the president saying, yeah, I like this window, you know. So there's a lot of changes that happen, but I've been here 17 years, and I think so much is going to happen in the next year or two that's going to blow everyone away, and so it was a really good time for us to capture people's hearts, because I think there's not a lot of quick no's anymore, okay? And that's not that wasn't from all my other athletic directors. I'm not saying that. I think the entire university has understood what athletics can do for us.
What are some of those things that you mentioned that you wanted to get done or see?
I don't know that it's for me to release, so I'll just you'll find out. But I'll play coach role right now.
Time for 1 or 2 more.
Coach, you've got a lot of good incoming freshmen coming.
Yes.
What do you have to say about this year's incoming recruits?
Can I say that they're both invited to?
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay.
News coming.
Yeah. They are very good. And let's just say our country is aware of how good they are. I'll put it that way. We will have quite a few. I can say this: we will have quite a few of our young ladies that are representing their countries this summer, or having an opportunity to represent their countries this summer, which has been great. So we're a talented team. We're good, and they are going to be very impactful. They need to be. They can play together. So you got a 6'4", 6'5", and a 6'6" that can play together very, very well, and that will help our front line quite a bit.